everybody lined up, Ricky can start the meeting anytime.
I think we got everybody here. We'll have a couple of them on voice, but we'll just have to do the best we can on that.
Okay, thank you. I actually have 6:01 on my phone, so at 6:01, I'll call the meeting to order, and the first agenda item is the EDC meetings consideration and/or action to approve the minutes of the February 20th, 2020 EDC regular meeting. Mr. Dunn?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Jerry, second. All in favor, hold your hand up. Okay, looks like it passes unanimously. Second item on the agenda is the development and contract consideration and/or action for proposed development plan and contract proposals of the EDC property located at 4101 Old Denton Road by Vaquero Ventures and the McRae Group. Mr. Phelps, we'll turn it over to you.
Rex, you're muted.
You're muted, Rex.
Sorry about that. Okay, thanks for letting me know. So it's loaded up in the computer first with the McRae Group, which will be Augie Gomez and I believe David Sellers. So Laura, if you'll put up their presentation up on the screen, y'all give us a quick overview, and then don't discuss the numbers. It's just we just want you to discuss your company profile and what you plan to do with the property.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. So this is David Sellers. I am with LGE Design Build. I'm the president and CEO of LGE Design Build, and then also a founding partner of a development company called Creation Companies. We have been partnering with McRae Group, which Augie's on the phone, for a handful of years now. We have projects now in California, Texas, working together in Arizona. We're based out of Arizona. But actually just opened an office in Dallas. It opened March 1st, so it's been a little bit of a rough start to Dallas, but hopefully everything gets back to normal pretty soon. But so we're a design build company. We build a lot of companies' headquarters. We do some spec development, but a lot of the stuff that we do is companies come to us to build and/or lease or sell their headquarters to them. We're fully integrated, so we've got architecture in-house, general contracting obviously in-house, and then a full development team. We've got about 82 people in our company located in Phoenix, and then we've got a staff of 5 so far in Dallas. And like I said, we just ramped up. We've worked with Haltom City on our project called the 820 Exchange, which I'm sure everyone hopefully has driven by, where we've got roughly 950,000 square foot in 4 different buildings. We also have a retail and a hotel component that's fronting on 820. And then we also have another portion of that site that's going to be a mixed use. So we, on that site went through entitlements through Haltom City, worked a lot with Rex, and we're successful in getting a business park designation and employment designation for that project. And pretty swiftly went through the permitting process and debt and equity stack process and started construction on that project in the beginning of January. And we're looking to complete that project towards the end of this year. So the product and included in this package, who's in control of this package?
Laura will be the one. Just tell Laura when you're ready to turn the page.
Yeah, if you can just go to the next page, we can just run through this really quick. I don't want to tie up everyone's time too much. Augie, do you want to dig into McRae Companies and give a quick background?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. This is Augie Gomez. I'm the principal and co-CEO of the McRae Group. I believe Ron McRae is on the line as well. The McRae Group, as mentioned in our presentation, has been active in land investments, land entitlement, and land development in all asset classes for about 40 years. Currently, we hold about 85 projects throughout the Southwest. That includes Southern California, Arizona, the DFW area, Austin, and in Colorado as well. So Dave Sellers and his partner Bob Agahi are both personal friends of the firm, as well as partners on multiple projects. We brought them into our project in Haltom City, which is now the 820 Exchange. That was a project that the McCray Group had in its portfolio for a little over 20 years. So we have been invested in Haltom City in this market for several decades now. And what it really attracted us to this site is basically our existing investment and our interest in continuing to invest in Haltom City. So we're excited to have the ability to present to you guys today.
Great. All right. Next page, please.
Yeah, you can go to the next one. Yeah. There you go.
This is just background on Creation Company. So this is the company that I'm also a co-founder of, and this is the developer of our 820 Exchange project in Haltom City. And just a quick recap, but we're based in Arizona, currently pipeline close to 600 million in projects, whether it's mixed use or industrial office projects. You can go to the next page. This is our team. So like I said, fully integrated development company, in-house counsel, in-house architecture, in-house construction. Next page, please. And this is the construction company that you see developing or building the project off 820. So our design build company has been around for 26 years now. We've completed over 22 million square feet of projects, and very, very active in Arizona and hopefully in Texas for years to come. Next page. Once again, just more staff that's going to be in there. It's important to note that, included in our company, Ben McCray, he's our lead designer. He's also the architect that designed the project at 820, so he'll be involved this entire way. Next page. So site plan, if you can go to the next page, it'll actually show the site plan. This may get changed a little bit. I know there's a wash running through the property, so more than likely we're going to have to bifurcate the building and have two buildings, but generally similar product type to what we're talking about or what we're developing over or Northern Cross. So we see this building as either a front load or a rear load warehouse fulfillment employment building, probably 30 to 32 foot clear height, tilt construction. But I think Rex could agree that the kind of buildings that we build, they do not look like a lot of the tilt product that you see on the other side of the 820, where there's just absolutely no architectural appeal to them whatsoever. We pay a lot of design and attention to what these things look like. Next page, please. Project examples, next page. This is just going to go through some examples. So this is the 820 Exchange, like I said, 950,000 square feet. And just like I was talking about as far as the design, we incorporated some composite metal panels in the corners of these buildings, pretty good glass line, Texas limestone, really attractive colors, just to break them up. Next page. This is a project we recently finished in Phoenix. 30-foot clear height. This project was about 400,000 square feet in total. This building was about 100,000 square feet of that. But once again, you can just see the attention we pay to the design of these buildings. Next page. This is pretty typical of a build-a-suit that we would do. This building was 70,000 square feet. They build armed services armament, like bulletproof vests and tactical gear, and they're based in Peoria, Arizona. Next page. This is a beer distribution project for Crescent Crown in Mesa, Arizona, about 345,000 square feet. Once again, a pretty good example of the distribution or the build-a-suit where a company is coming to us to build their specific headquarters. Next page. And then another example of a build-a-suit. This is a mining company out of Chile that selected our firm to come up with their national template for these manufacturing buildings they build around the world. And this one we built in Mesa, Arizona. Next page. Next page,
This
please.
was the last of your pages.
That's fun. Okay, great. So we just want to give you a quick outline of our company and different kind of product that we work on. You know, I think the product that we build, we just put a lot of attention into what it looks like. You know, what it's going to look like, I think, for future generations, and you know, try to make this a smooth project and be a great partner for Haltom City.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions, or do we want to hear both presentations and then start questioning Mr. Phelps, or what do you suggest?
I think that probably if you have questions about this presentation, it might be best to ask Augie or David now. And then, because we're going to talk about this in executive session later, but if there's any questions, I think now would be a good time, and then we can take the second presentation separately.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Phelps. Mr. Jury, I see your hand up there.
I just would like some reassurance that the kind of buildings that we just saw will be representative of what will be built in Haltom City.
Yeah, this is David. Absolutely. I mean, we if you go through our entire website and our entire history of projects, I don't think you'll really see one that you would not be happy with. We don't have like an A and a B and a C category for what we build. We really build the same quality and the same kind of product. You know, every building, obviously they all look a little bit different and they're going to have a little bit of a different makeup, but as far as the quality and the attention to design, that's exactly what we would envision developing here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jury. Mr. Grow, I see your mic is on. Do you have any questions, or?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? I do have one question without jeopardizing any relationships with, you know, other businesses. Do you have any sort of group in mind as we speak, or is it just strictly on speculation?
It would be on speculation for now. You know, a lot of times with these warehouse buildings, you need to go through and spend the upfront money to get the plans done and go through and be permit ready. And then a lot of times speculate them before you get tenants that come along, just because these guys' window, you know, it isn't usually a year and a half out. It's a little bit shorter. But I mean, even through all this craziness that's going on in the world, our 820 project, we've already responded to 4 RFPs since the beginning of COVID. For great employers. I mean, like pretty good, you know, high average wage employment users. And so I think, you know, that area, you know, that Fort Worth, North Fort Worth submarket is, you know, arguably one of the strongest employment, you know, distribution areas in the country. And I think it's just going to continue to grow in that momentum. So nobody yet, but I don't think it would take too long from the time we have a design and we're under construction to get the right tenant in there.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. And there again, for your presentation and your interest in Haltom City, especially. So thank you, Mr. Phelps.
Just something to add to that. All of our new industrial buildings, all the new nice industrial buildings that we've been fortunate enough to attract, they're all 100% occupied. So, I think he's probably right about the market.
Okay, so at this time, are we ready for the next presentation by the Vaquero Group?
Yes, sir. I think I can't see all the pictures. I think we got some on caller. So I think Zach Repin will be here to introduce whoever's going to be talking for Vaquero.
Okay, Mr. Penn.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I believe we've got WA, the co-founder of Vaquero Ventures, on the line. I don't think he's on a camera, but he's on a telephone. WA, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'll turn it over to WA now.
Hello,
you.
everybody. Thank you for the time tonight, and appreciate the coordination amongst the circumstances. A little bit about Vaquero Ventures. We're based here in Fort Worth. We've developed about 375 projects kind of across the Southwest. Right now we currently have a portfolio of about $200 million of assets. And we've got probably 60 projects that are currently in different phases right now, not all industrial. We have been familiar with this site for a long time and have been working through it. And our plan right now is to proceed with a self-occupied 60,000 square foot cold storage building, which is a little bit different than a typical industrial project. It's got about 40-foot clear heights, and the density within these projects is different than a typical storage facility. They run in the $125 per square foot range, which for this, our first phase, it'd be about a $12 million project. And we would be occupying the building initially ourselves. And in the cold storage business, there's several different users in the space. You've got like a Tyson Foods, which is next to this facility just to the north, that might have their own cold storage facility. Then you have what are kind of multi-tenant cold storage facilities. That would be this project. And we have got about 30,000 square feet of that cold storage facility already leased. We would do a master lease across the entire project, but we would be breaking ground probably here in the next 5 to 6 months, based on timeframes of getting through the city and that sort of thing. But what we've seen with other facilities is they're kind of incubators, which is good for this project because it has additional land. So what we see is we build the 60,000 square foot phase one cold storage facility, and our clients that would be using that cold storage would be restaurant groups, food processors, that sort of thing, that need percentages of the space. And a lot of times they will occupy additional industrial space around the facility. So we could produce smaller buildings surrounding it, and or those tenants that occupy our space for cold storage, their actual food production facilities, might be using other buildings in the area. So it's a pretty straightforward deal. It's basically the kitchen or the storage capacity for these food retailers that are putting product through the system. And so our first phase would be a 60,000 square foot cold storage facility that we would occupy ourselves. And from there, grow it kind of around that facility. We are aware and have planned previously on the aesthetical nature of the facility and what we need to do there. So that is kind of already a part of our plan, and it's pretty straightforward. So we're confident in the ability to move forward since we're self-occupying the facility, and excited about the project. And I'd be happy to answer any questions on how the cold storage business works, or because that's kind of the crucial point of this business, is how it works in the community and how it can kind of be a catalyst for other businesses.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Jury, I see, in fact, you're the only one I can see with it. Go ahead with your question.
On a cold storage facility, is there much vehicular traffic movement back and forth? Have you done any kind of traffic studies or surveys, projections on how much additional traffic will be added to Old Denton Road?
It's a good question. There probably is more traffic than a typical industrial facility based on the density of a cold storage project. It's probably close to double. But the offset to that is you're going to have a higher value building and you're going to have more activity surrounding it. So there will be additional pressure on the road, but from a perspective of synergies with other industrial areas and overall revenue generation, it's higher impact on both sides.
Have you studied though the specific impact they'll have on Old Denton Road? That's an old road. It's not really up to par. Is it going to require some future investment by the city to get it to a level that's adequate for your development?
I think that any industrial or cold storage facility is probably going to put a good bit of traffic on that project, on that road. We anticipate increasing the turnoff or the, probably the ingress and egress points of the facility to make sure that those are concrete, because right now that road's asphalt, so there probably will be a inflection point there where there will be issues. What typically happens, since we're going to be operating this facility, is we maintain those entrances and exits to make sure that it's a smooth transition. But it's a great point. There will be increased activity on Old Denton Road, and we'll have to evaluate that with the city.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you, Mr. Jury. I have to oh, Laura, you have your hand up?
Was the presenter wanting to go through any of his slides?
Sure. The slides are fairly basic. The exterior is going to be masonry with metal components for kind of over the entrances. We've got glass storefront based on a handful of our facilities have offices in the front of these projects because there is client interaction. So a lot of clients want to be able to show off their cold storage to whoever is buying their product. So it's kind of an increased aesthetics on the front of the building. So we do anticipate, if you see on that third slide, putting in trees along the front, some glass storefront. Overall, it's a concrete construction building, and layering it in kind of a more of a modern look. And that's kind of the look that a lot of these cold storage facilities are looking for these days. So I guess to answer your question, it's going to be a little bit more of a modern looking building based on client feedback, and because everybody wants to see, okay, this is a state-of-the-art building. We're going to have a lot of technology in there based on the cooling systems that are well above and beyond a typical building. So that's a selling point for our business.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? EDC members? I'm trying to thumb through here to see if anyone's. Mr. Blocker.
Yes, the phase one, is that the building that will set others back from Old Denton Road?
It would be, yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I want to know. So phase two is going to be the one that closer on down to the road, and that's what, a year or so out?
It could be, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blocker. Mr. Phelps, a good question on either with the Vaquero group or the McRae group. How is there, or it might even be a question for Greg. How would we, that road is already in very much need of repair. how would we work something out, kind of like that's going on up on Northern Crossing now? What do we do on that, Mr. Phelps?
Well, I'm glad Greg is here. Greg, if you want to answer that, you'd be the best one to.
Sure. So what we look at with all properties that plat in this city, whether that be Barnes's subdivisions up off of Haltom Road, is we look at what the anticipated amount of traffic and type of traffic is going to be on our road network. And from that, there's been engineering formulas that have stood up in court where we can kind of equate what their, how many feet of roadway that they're going to be on in Haltom City. And so therefore we can come out with an amount of roadway that they will need to reconstruct. Now, candidly, on some of these developments, it only comes out to maybe 100 foot. So in those cases, the city's taking the economic equivalent. However, depending on his type of traffic, it may be something substantially more. However, I don't see it being all the way from Beach Street to Meacham or something like that. But it's looked at the time of final platting.
Mr. Weiss.
Thank you, Ricky. Question for presenter. 60,000 square foot. How many bays are you going to have for dock loading on that?
There'd be about 15 bays.
So 15 bays. So let's just take one bay. If they run it 24 hours, they can get 24 trucks on an hour average. So you're at 24 times 15 once that thing gets going. If they run it 24 hours. 24 trucks.
It doesn't. When the other thing about funny thing about the cold storage business is, and that's a great question, they actually have peaks of the week. So you will see accelerated activity for about half the week, which is typically the front half of the week, getting ready for the weekend, and then it dies off Friday to Sunday. And that's based on the producers that are producing products in the area, that they work Monday to Friday and they produce the most during that time period and they ship later. So it's really kind of more like 2/3 of the week is on and about 1/3 of the week is off. And it's not quite as on an hourly basis. It's probably maybe, the bays may be, 4 to 6 trips a day per bay.
So 4 to 6 trips per bay is, say, 4 trips, that's 60 trucks a day on average.
I think that's about accurate for out of 4 days a week, and then it'll slow down for 3 days out of the week.
So Greg, that means you're gonna have 60 trucks, anywhere between 40 and 43.5 on their weight. Some of the Featherlight trailers will get up to 44.5, just to let you know.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Weiss. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, there again, would thank both presenters on their presentations. Very well done. I'm sure it's kind of awkward doing it this way. I wish we could see each other face to face, but we can't. So, but thank you. And so at this time, time is it? 6:30?
But Ricky, can I say a couple of things real quick?
Sure, please.
Okay, so for anybody that's watching this and for the presenters, don't leave. When we go into executive session, don't leave. We will come back to this meeting, but the executive session will be in a different meeting. And so we just want you to know that we will come back. And for the EDC's benefit, our William Northern and Daniel Dace, which are our brokers for the EDC properties, will be there to help us in executive session. So I just want to make sure that everybody realizes this is not over this meeting. I just want you to know we'll be back.
Okay, thank you very much.
we'll just sit tight. Thanks, Rex.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. So, at 6:30, at this time, under section 551.071 and 551.072, we will go into executive session, and, reiterating what Rex said, we're going to executive session for deliberation, but we will be back. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Okay, so like Rex said, hang on. We're gonna get everybody. Some people need assistance getting into the executive session, but when they come back, we'll wrap this up.
Thank you, Laura.
I think that's about everybody, I think.
Mr. Dunn, where's Mr. Dunn? Mr. Blocker, Dunn, Weast, Mr. Grow. I don't see Mr. Dunn.
He's there.
Oh, there, okay. Okay. Will? Mr. Jury? Okay, it looks like everyone's here. So at 7:24, we're back in regular session. Where do we go from here, Mr. Olson? Take any action that what was discussed in executive session?
That's right, Mr. President. You need a motion if there is one to be made. And I see a hand being held up.
I see two hands. Mr. Weiss, I think I saw yours first. Mr. Grow, I hope that doesn't offend you, but.
Let Mr. Weeks go.
He makes better motions than I do anyways. All right, for item number 2, I make a motion that we authorize our EDC chair to sign the contract with McCray Group.
That's for, first, Mr. Weiss, Mr. Grow,
I will second that motion.
and we have a second from Mr. Grow. All in favor? Looks like the decision is unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Phelps, anything you would like to add, or anyone have any comments? Thank you, Will, and everyone for all your work on this.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I just appreciate everybody and thank you for bearing with us through this technical difficulty we had tonight. But we appreciate it. Thank you for the offers. Thank you for the presentations, and just thank you for everybody's professionalism.
All right,
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Good night. Yep, it's 7:26 and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.